Hello.
Hello. Hello everyone, so as usual let's wait for 1-2 minutes until everyone joins us.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so I think we can start. Yeah, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining today, and those who joined yesterday. I hope you had some fun. And okay, let's now move on with Java, and I would like to start with as you asked me last time to check for the actually maybe that's not okay. Check for the problem. I mean, check for the solution or the problem where you had such dependencies for XML. I think I got the. I mean, I remembered what was the file I deleted. So maybe let me replicate the issue, and I will show you which file you need to delete. First of all, maybe let me just import the project again. Moment. Yeah, the moment I need to remove this one. Okay. And 1 moment. Just need to remove the same project before I import it again. Moment. Okay, now I can import the project. You don't need to do it, just doing this to show how we can solve the issue. How can we solve the issues? So let's import the project, and after that, so for XML, let me, sorry, not this one, sorry, that was extra 05, I guess. No, not, yeah, X04, yeah. So for XML, and yeah, if someone wants to join us, contact, moment, one moment, so okay. So if we do the imports here, I think I will have the same error. Yeah, so we can see that I have the same error that Java XML is accessible from more than one module. So I removed, let me show what I removed in the, sorry, not here, in the project. Again, go to the build path, configure build path, then you need to go to libraries, and I think that was the last one. Yeah, this one. And just in case you want to get it back, please remember or note it somewhere, this path to this jar file, in case you need it somewhere else. But here we just remove it and apply the changes, and the error disappears here, and I think there should be no any other issues with different packages. So please replicate the steps and let me know if you solved it. Okay, yeah, user says she cannot find such path. Okay, so that's most likely means, but yeah, for Ilse, do you still have this issue? I mean,
Yes, I do.
okay, so you have the issue and you don't have such build path. That's strange, because I think that this one should be, maybe please, maybe it's in different sequence. There's different sequence for you, please please check and try to find this file, because I think it should be there, since we all have the same project imported, so I think it should be for all of us. At least I don't see the reasons why it shouldn't be. Okay, for others, how about others? Any success or not? Okay, Zan is typing. Sandra as well. Okay, so Zan, have you removed this? Okay, I think, yeah, have you pressed on apply and close as well? Yes. Okay. Yes, okay. That's strange because that worked for me. About others, maybe you define it somewhere else. Okay, Sandra is typing. Yes, yes, that's the same. Yes, that's correct. I think twist. I don't have any additional imports here. Yeah, basically, yeah, that's for Sandra. You need to delete basically the one highlighted by Ilse. Maybe okay, I can. Let me just copy this one, and I can just repeat the steps for myself. Sorry, I also needed to remove the GTM folder as well. So let's import. Okay, and here, okay, let me just copy the code and paste the code. Okay, so again, go to source path, build path, configure build path, and for me that's the last one, the one where there's XML APIs, this one. So maybe let me just print screen it. Okay, so any success for others? What about tails? Have you removed this class path you highlighted, and any success after that? Okay. That would be a bit strange if we have different results, because okay, let me yes, yes, so it should not really ruin the previous tasks. Okay, what about others? And yeah, and please check the same what Ilse had. I mean that external GAR. But I think that should work for everyone, because we basically have the same project with no additional setup. So I think that should be. In case you still have this problem, then please maybe try to search and check if this GAR is not still somewhere there. Yeah, Christine, after delete you just need to apply and close, and then you should check if you still have the error here or not. Because again, basically, what's the problem? The problem is that we just have the same libraries defined in different GARs, and the compiler does not really understand which one to use. So in this case, we need to remove one tool and keep another tool, just to make it clear for the compiler that it needs to use the exact library. Okay, so I hope that's more clear for this one, and I think we can move on. There's one more question that was from Svetlana. about the build path as well. So yeah, I just wanted to, in case you have, maybe I will share the error thread on hand. So that's one means that you, okay, oh no, that's about string, sorry, the right one. Oh yeah, maybe about string as well. So yeah, if you have such such simple compilation problems, that most likely means that you have the problems with the setup of libraries. Then maybe it's, so first of all, I need to check the build path. In source, please check that you have included. Yeah, first of all, you need to have the source folder as, src folder as the source folder, and most likely that's src folder. Then again, check if everything is included and nothing excluded. That's for our case. In projects, you need to keep this one as is. And here in class path, if you don't have any special.
Give me a second, please.
Yeah.
Can you show us again source?
Yeah.
Included all, excluded none,
Yeah.
native library none, ignore optional compile problems no, contains test sources no. Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay.
Then projects we have nothing. For libraries,
There is nothing in libraries.
Yeah.
Yeah, class passes.
Class path, yeah, that's in case you need to use JSON, you can import JSON. For module path, yeah, maybe check this one as well, because something.
And what should be checked?
I mean, check if something is here at least. Okay, it's I'm not sure if you can check everything here, but just
everything.
No, just check the basic one if you have at least something here.
Yes, I have. Okay. GRE system library.
Yeah, to order and export. So I think that should be fine as well here. In model
model dependencies.
Model dependencies. Do you have? I think maybe you
something?
Can. Okay, maybe just in case. Yeah, for I see you have the problem with string. Okay. Just one moment. Let's check some string and creation. So the string is located under Java language, and that's one is yeah, that's Java base. You should have Java compiler as well. So all the base.
Yes, I can see.
Okay. So okay. Okay. And I think that you should. So okay, you have Java base and Java lang as well. And do you still have this error with string?
And where should I have it?
I mean, yeah, check Java base, and in your case, since that's the problem with string.
Java base. How to open it? Well, I'm in a model dependencies Java build path. Or should I check it?
I mean, please go to. I mean, from here, I think that's more visible from here. If you go to GR system library, then you open Java base, Java lang. I think.
Open Java base. And here Java lang, yeah?
Okay, it's here, right?
Yeah, it's here.
Okay,
And
and
what
you
else?
still have the problem with string, right?
Um, well, give me a second, maybe
Okay.
I will check one
Yeah,
more
yeah,
time
please recheck.
because something can be. Um, well, I try to in the code examples, yeah? It's
Uh,
only about code examples.
no, I mean the one you sent to me.
Yeah,
You sent me a screenshot with
yeah, and
where.
when I try to run something
So
here,
is it still yeah, okay, you still have the error here, right?
give me a second, I will check one more
Yeah,
time.
sure.
Mm. Yes, I have java.lang.error. Unresolved compilation problem. String cannot be resolved to a type. Integer cannot be resolved. Arrays cannot be resolved. But
Okay.
everything cannot be resolved. It's really not so important because I can work with
Yeah.
other another repository. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
how
That's.
to realize what does it mean?
Yeah. We only think module pass. Okay. At least if you have. Okay. Then maybe. But yeah, the problem is related to the build path, and for some reasons something is not really. It cannot really see your okay that libraries, but okay, maybe let's move on then.
Yeah, maybe let's
Yeah,
move
yeah,
on,
okay,
and maybe you can help me another time because now it's time for
okay,
lesson.
yeah, okay, okay, it's fine. So yeah, that's maybe about it. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's some other questions I will ask. Yeah, especially about again activity 06. I think we can discuss it again at the end of our today's session. But for now, maybe let me show the solution for JSON for that JSON activity extra 05. Not this one. Yeah, maybe let's work from here. Okay. So first of all, you had to. Okay, let's not implement small class. Yeah, first of all, you had to implement the car class. And as it was written here, you just need to generate public constructor to set up all the properties. You can I can generate. We can use the wizard. To be honest, based on my previous experience, I sometimes had projects I worked. I had I had a system where the wizard was broken. That's why that was more safe to to use to write the code by myself than use the wizard. That's why I not always trust them. But I think in Eclipse everything should be fine. So first of all, let's generate the setter. Yeah, generate the setters and okay, maybe let me just write the constructor string module integer year string color and float price. Let's just set up. Yeah, first of all, let's just set up this module equals module. And yeah, same for price. Okay, so that was practically it for the current class. That was very easy. And for JSON, as you remember, there were some tricky stuff here. So first of all, maybe let's move on with the code and then just add what we really need. So first of all, as it is stated, we need to return the list of the cars. For this purpose, let's define the local variable. Let's define the local variable first. Car list, array list, and let's write the type for cars. Okay, then remember that we need to process JSON file. I think that I don't really have the JSON file, this JSON file now. Let me check 1 moment. So that would be easier to follow this. Okay, I think I don't have it for now, but I think that you have written it somewhere. But let's maybe move on. So first of all, we define a JSON object. We create a JSON object based on the JSON file provided as the string. So that's the simple text file. And first of all, we need to import from ArcJSON. And just please choose the right class to be used. Maybe let's see, define it as the doc object. Okay, and as you remember, there was an array of the cars. So from the object we get JSON array, and here we pass the cars. But also we need to import it as well. JSON array, Okay, let's see, there's the question. Line 9, that's I think that's so. Thanks, Svetlana. That's the one I just imported accidentally when I typed JSON was lowercase here. Thanks. We don't need it. And that's if you accidentally type something that you don't really use, and if you remove the code after that, the import will remain at the top. Right. Okay, let's move on. So now we got the array of cars, and after that we can go through all the cars once. by 1. Okay, for each car we create a new. So yeah, we got, first of all we need to get the corresponding corresponding item, corresponding car. So that's what would be on the index I. And yeah, for each car you can get the module car get string key module. For the year we define it as integer and do it practically the same way. Hope we won't have any type issues here. For the car we define it as string. Yeah, that's fine. For the price we also want to get it as integer, so we have a price. And yeah, that's it. And now we can define car. Define this car object. And here let's use car object to have a proper naming for all the variables. Here we can create a Java object passing module, so we have module, year, color, and price. Yeah, so for here, yeah, I noticed that we need to have default. I'm not sure if default, yeah, we can get default here as well. Hope that won't crash the program. And let's add it to our car list. Yeah, at the end maybe let's return it. Let's write the return statement to not forget it. Yeah, just don't forget we already done this with this method. So on the other hand, if we want to get JSON string from the list provided, it's even more easier if we just need to use a string writer. It's already imported at the top, and yeah, as it is, I think that's stated here. It's recommended that we can use string writer, so that can be used in a simple way. We create the string writer, just a constructor, and we have JSON writer, which is used for obviously for JSON files. Here we also define define the JSON writer, and here we pass the string writer. So yeah, please note that we have the reference for the string writer here, and we pass it to JSON writer here. So this one will return the the reference which will be related to this variable, to this object. So, and after that we get the object from JSON writer. We provide the key for the cars. Then we provide the value for the cars. And yeah, end of object at the end. And we just want to return the string, so for the first one, which is string writer, let me just check one more. Okay, maybe let's try with this one. And let's check if it works. So let's run the unit test. I think we cannot really make it green in general way, because of the sorry, that's, we need to have a string writer. String moment. Okay, as I mentioned, it's not really possible to get the green unit test because the sequence for JSON file is not really important. It's not importing. Because it doesn't really matter what's the sequence of the attributes if there's just a list of attributes, and it doesn't really matter what sequence is there. But we need to care about the structure. As we can see, the structure is correct. We have the object, then we have the attribute cars. For JSON, it has, and then we have the array. Array was in this case there are 2 cars, as I see, and the same as in actual result. We have, let's start from here. We have 1 car until here, and then we have another car. Yeah, I'll explain also. Yes, and yeah, maybe let me explain. For also on line 56, we construct the JSON file. So here we can see there's the list provided, the list of cars, which is basically the list of objects, cars as the objects. So for JSON writer, we open the object. So maybe let me maybe copy the result. Then let me parse this to JSON file. And yeah. So so that's the output for our JSON file. Yes, Svetlana, I will explain it. Yeah, just let me finish with a question from Alice. So in line 56, first of all, what we do, we ask JSON writer to create the object here, so it creates the object. So this is the object, and then we ask it to add the cars. So we add the cars, the key, the cars, the attribute cars, and then we have the value of the cars. So that's the value. We have a list of 2 elements, first element, second element, and basically it constructs the JSON file in the way that that the attributes from the object defined in the class are shown as the attributes in the JSON object, and then it just closes the object, and we have the JSON object after that. Regarding the question from Svetlana, what's the difference between array list and list? Let me show you them. As we can see, list is the interface. List is the interface, and array list, that's the declaration. That's the class. So basically, yeah, that's the main idea. We will talk about so we'll talk about the collections, but in this case, the main thing is that the list is just the interface, and array list, that's the class. So maybe you already noticed that you cannot write it this way. Obviously, new list car and something like that, because that's the interface. You cannot create the instance of the interface this way. Yeah. So if you want to provide, maybe you can provide the implementation here, but that's not really what we use. We just use array list, because basically there are different types of lists. Maybe let me show you the hierarchy. We'll talk about the collections a bit later, but the main idea is that there is the hierarchy. Yeah, this one. So we have the hierarchy. There's the list. So that's the interface we use. And there are different types of lists. There's array list we usually use, so that's maybe the most simple one. So we have the list as the array, and we use it. Then we have the linked list, which is the sorted list, and the vector, which is also a type of the list. We'll talk about the collections maybe more deeper, just for your understanding. That is why we used the array list. That's for the get JSON method. For get cars, that works simple way, as in similar way, absolutely the same. And please note that the sequence and the type. Maybe also please note that for integer numbers or float, like in this case, it shows the values without the brackets. Which lines are interface lines? Helen, I mean the list, the type list, that's the interface. So if we use list, that is the interface, right? It's defined as in Java system library as Java utility library as the interface, and if we go to array, that's the class which can be used, right? And maybe I think that should be pretty clear. Maybe just to make it clear to everyone, let's maybe go through the code with the debug a little bit. so we can just see the full screen of the test. So first we want to get JSON. We have the list of cars provided. So that's the list of cars. We have 2 cars here with a color, model, price here, and the same for another car. Then based on that listed, so here we create the JSON writer, just a simple object with some specific details. Then using the JSON writer we create the JSON object. So okay, maybe it won't be easy to see it here. At the end we get the JSON file, and more interesting for get cars method is just simple. We declare the array as I noted. Then based on JSON string, maybe let's see. You already noticed how the JSON string look like. Simple JSON file, JSON text, and then here we just go through all the cars. We define a car object. Here we just get the elements from the car object, and at the end we create the class and return the list. So that's pretty simple structure here, and that's basically it for about this this task for JSON files. Okay, I hope that now it's fine and we can move on with the exceptions. So I think maybe let's have a break now, and after the break we'll go with the exceptions. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, I think you should be. Yes, you should be able to hear me. Okay, so let's move on with the exceptions, and here we go to such part. Parallel as well. Such part called. Yeah, basically that's the class tree of throwable. As I told you last time, I hope I told you that the throwable is the superclass for all the exceptions and errors. Maybe let's just go to it using just from Java itself. So again, remember we can go to exception. That exceptions are also the classes. So we extend runtime exception, then we have exception, and yeah, the parent one is throwable, which is basically the parent for all the exception classes in Java. And here we have two sections. The sections with the checked exceptions. Yeah, and you can see that these sections are splitted. And what does the checked exception mean? That's basically that's real simple. So you can maybe understand it from the name that checked means that exceptions are checked during the compilation. Yeah, during the compilation, and maybe we already faced it last time. Maybe let's test check, for example. Then if we have for example, as well that was stated file input, let's import the file. Here we want to go to somewhere like something like that. It doesn't really matter what do we have here. So yes, okay, maybe not this one. Let's use file input stream for stream. Yeah, that's and here you can see that we have such error like unhandled exception type file not found exception. So if we, again, that's practically the same. If you want to run this, that will not allow us even to try to read the file, because we have the checked exception defined in this class. Maybe let's and that happens because so we have this class, right? And that's so yeah, as you remember, here we call the constructor. So we call the constructor, we pass the parameter to constructor, and this means that we call this method. And what we see here, we can see that it is stated that this constructor throws file not found exception, and that's why we have the problem here, because it stands that if we want to call, like in this case, if we want to call this constructor, it means that we need to throw the exception or the parent class of this exception file not found exception. So if we put try and catch block, yeah, we can use the parent class if we are lazy to remember the name of the exception. So now we can see we have no errors. No errors on the compilation stage. Here, we don't need this one. So that's what is called checked exception. One more thing, if we have another method, let's use private void do something. Doesn't really matter what we really want to do. And if we put the statement here, again we have the problem. But if we declare that this method will throw the exception file not found exception or the superclass, we can see that the exception, checked exception, that error from compilation, it disappears, because here we stated that this method should also throw the exception file not found here. And the same way, I hope you understand the technology of this hierarchy, let's call it hierarchy. So if it's just a constructor, and if we want to call the object to instance from here, in this case here you can see that we have no errors because we are in the try catch block. But if we skip it, it says the same way as it said us before. So again, the idea is that if you put the throws, it's fine, you can do it. But in this case, even if this method is called, at some point you will need to have to use try catch block to actually catch this exception. So that's the idea. But if you just want to get rid from it by going from down to top, that's also the way how we can use it. But maybe let's for this method, in theory you can also put throws file not found exception, but that doesn't really make sense. And the result, okay, you don't have the compilation problems, but you have the error in case the file is not found. But you can also, for your testing, maybe for a testing purpose, you can write it this way. Okay, I also have a question. What's the difference between try and throws? That's a good question. Try means that try starts, just please follow. Try starts the try catch statement. So try starts, it defines the block where you try to do something, right? So it stands for doing something. That's the block, and after the try you have the catch statement, which means that everything what happens in try block, that will, if the corresponding catch is defined, it will catch the exception from the try block. So that's for the try. But throws means that throws stands for the methods. For the methods, for methods, for constructors as well. It says that you should use try catch statement for in the place where this particular method, which uses throws, is called. So if you use the method which has throws keyword and it throws some exception, it means that in the place where this method is used, you need to put this method call in try block to catch the exception. That's mandatory. Okay, and question from Marita, and what's the difference between throw and throws? Throws means, again, that stands for the method. So if you have the method, you can, after the method declaration, you can declare which exception will this method throw. That's what throws means. And throw, just without s at the end, it means that it triggers the raise. Basically it raises the exception. Right, Marit? So that's the difference between throws and throw. Using throw, you raise the exception. Using throws, you define that the method can throw the exception. So basically the throw is throws, it's kind of the warning message that, maybe we can consider this as the warning message that this method can have some, not some, but it can have some problems. Some exceptions can be raised inside this method. Okay, and that's for checked errors. Basically, the checked errors are the ones which uses that throws. That's also for me maybe a bit. Sometimes I may mixed them up. Throws and throws. So I hope you understand it from the context that, if we use the throws, so that's that may be considered as the checked exception. Otherwise, it is considered as unchecked. Maybe for no pointer exception, maybe let's check it for no pointer exception, because I'm sure that we already have some tricky parts with it. So maybe let's define something like this check object, and let's not initialize it. So in this case there's no problem, but if we want to access this object, it obviously shows us that maybe let's create another method, or just maybe let's just create the public, maybe let me just string, so it doesn't really matter what's the string. I just want to try to access something, calls, right, for example, and it shows us that the local variable is not initialized, but on the website, you can see that that's maybe a bit strange that here we can see the error, but here we don't see the error. And oh, okay, yeah, we can see the error as well. Sorry, I thought. But let's, for example, run them, and yeah, and we also can see that that it is a part of compilation problem. So maybe this schema is not really 100% correct, because here we also have the check on the uninitialized, non-initialized object variable, which is also kind of no pointer exception, but that's really good that this one is also, so this is the obvious problem which is also checked, because that doesn't make sense if we want to access the object variable which is not initialized. And as I stated last time, if we have kind of like static void get object, for example, gets the not void but test checked, and we just want to return no, it will not understand that we actually have the no, that will actually definitely have no pointer exception. So yeah, in this case it checks in a straight way if we don't have any hidden ways to go through the exception. But if we, it checks and shows that we cannot, we can have no pointer exception, and it triggers the compilation problem. But yeah, for example, this one, like in this case, what we have exception, no pointer exception, which means that, hopefully you understand that it means that we try to access the object variable which is not initialized. And yeah, this is part of unchecked error, unchecked exception. As we can see, it doesn't show us everything, but it triggers the exception. Okay, I hope it's pretty clear about checked and unchecked. And about the errors, as I said, it is not really recommended to even catch them, because errors mean something really serious, and we need to check if we have such exceptions, if we have the errors, it most likely means that we need to do some corrections for the code. Right. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, that's what about checked and unchecked. Throwables can be checked and not checked by compiler, and there are some checked exceptions. So there are subclasses of exception class, except runtime exceptions. Yeah. So they're checked by compiler, and modern development environments require us that methods which can throw such exceptions are either handled with try catch block or throws. Keyword is added in declaration. That's basically what I talked about. And yeah, unchecked some class of runtime exception. Yeah, basically it states from the name. Unchecked means that something happened during the runtime, and the compiler does not really I cannot really understand that the problem will happen. And yeah, error subclasses are not checked by compiler because they may appear only on the runtime. So here's also the code example. Maybe let's copy it and just see how the exception is called. Yes, Svetlana, that's the good point. Class not found exception means that we actually want to use the class which is not found. I remember I wanted to show you one thing. Okay, one moment. Interesting.
It means we should import something, yeah?
Excuse me?
That means that we should import something.
No, I will show you what does it really mean. Actually, there can be different scenarios, but yeah, I will show you. I'll show you one way how this can be reached. One moment, I think I had this one. Yeah, I think this one. So okay, maybe I cannot give you the example at the moment because I cannot really imagine the code to write, but basically the idea is that sometimes the classes may be loaded on the runtime. So maybe I think for the import, not really sure if that will work for the import, because for the import it will have it should have the checked. One moment. That should have the checked error. So if we want to, for example, use kind of blah 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 class variable, so that's checked. Checked exception, checked problem, and that will result in compilation problem. So that's one is the checked one, but also there are some cases when the classes are loaded during the program execution. I will maybe in the next next lesson I will prepare one example where I will show how can we reach this exception mentioned by Sutton. But basically the idea is that we in some way we want to access the class which basically cannot be reached, or it it cannot be loaded in some way. And yeah, it also stands for you can have some cases I think you can have such errors, if such exception, if you maybe I can even moment. So we have the class really sure if okay, we should provide the type for name. Maybe let's just try to use one class 2. Okay, maybe not now. But yeah, basically the idea is, yeah, I will prepare the example for next lesson. The idea just is that the class we want to access in some way cannot be loaded, cannot be found, and I think if you have the problems with the Java build path, it is also most likely that you will face this issue. Because basically again the problem is that the class cannot be loaded, which sometimes cannot be checked on the compilation stage. And what we have here, we want to iterate through from more than 3, even more if we have no we need to have from 0 to 3. So here we have one more index, and that's the exception. Array index out of bounds. As we can see here, it's not checked during the compilation. However, we can see that the declaration has happened in pretty straightforward way. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, so this simple try block, as I mentioned, it encapsulates code which can lead to exception. If exception is raised, it is thrown in a try block, then it goes to the catch block. So yeah, general syntax is that's try. We have the keyword try, then we have the block, and again, small reminder that everything what is declared inside the try block will not be available outside the try block, as it stands for all the blocks. So exception can occur in any depth of execution call stack. So please note that if you have try block in one method, then you for example have 10 levels of stack code from this method, and the exception is thrown somewhere on the 10th level, for example. It means that it will go to the next catch statement, which actually will be on the initial method where you have this try block. So I don't remember if I showed you last time, but I think I drawn you last time. But the simple idea is that you start a try block here, then you have the method call from somewhere here, which calls another method, which calls another method, which calls then again another method. So you have kind of 10 levels, for example, here, and here you have the statement throw some exception. So imagine that it then when the exception is thrown, it goes back 10 levels up to this try block, and then it goes to the catch block from this method. So yeah, that's the idea, that you basically go 10, or yeah, in this case 10 levels up to the place where there's the try catch block occurred. Okay, and if it appears into deeper stack, then just starting point can be handled. And sometimes in bad approaches, in bad design, developers use try catch to just basically go from one place back to another place, which is not good, because maybe you heard about go to statement. I think I mentioned about it to you, but in other programming languages there's such go to statement, which for many programmers is considered as one of the worst statements imagined, because it absolutely crashes the main flow of the program. And the same about try catch blocks. If you use it this way, that you want to actually, if you throw the exception just to go back to the place where there's a try block, that's not a good design. So try catch statement needs to be used for try. If you consider that you can have some exceptions in between, then you go to catch if this exception is occurred, and you continue or finish the flow of your program. Yeah, then it's the catch block, which actually catches the exception based on the exception type provided. Yeah, as I said. Then we have the actual exception object, which is thrown, and then you can use it after that. Maybe a simple example. So we have try, we have catch. Here we want to catch array index out of bounds. So that's the name of the exception, main of the object variable provided here, and here we can use. So yeah, again, as for all the classes, you can have some different methods in different exceptions. Maybe not true in this case, you don't have something special here, but yeah, for most usual cases you can print stack trace, so that basically means that you print this stuff. So you can basically so what's the problem here? Okay, so I think that's so I think moment. Yeah, I think we need to index out about, yeah, that's correct. And oh yeah, that's okay. So yeah, that was from here. Print. Yeah. So yeah, if we want to print something else, yeah, we can also do it as I stated last time. But for example, what we can do, we can basically, it's just imagine we can collect all our exceptions private, maybe let's have the list of exception. I have exceptions, then I have new array list. Also let's import just simple list. And here we have the yeah. Okay, and for example, we can have like the flow here, and for example, what we want to exception, yeah, private static one, sorry. Exception, then we want to add the exception. Here we can add. So in theory, we can also collect all the all the exceptions here. Yeah, for example, here as well. Try catch. And yeah, the same way here. Yeah, so what you need to write in catch, that's based on the exception you want to catch. So if you, again in this case, here we do some stuff, and we may notice that we can have exception array index out of bounds. So if out of bounds, so it means that in this case we consider that we can have the error that the exception that we want to access the index from the array, which actually does not exist. Like in this case we have only 3 elements, but we want to go through 4 elements. And in this case I understand that we can have this exception array index out of bounds, and then I declare it to have the corresponding corresponding catch after that. Also you can do it in this way, that you handle multiple exceptions. Like yeah, like in this case what we have, like no pointer exception, for example. So in this case it means that we can catch these types of exceptions. We can catch array index out of bounds exception and no pointer exception. So basically you choose which one to use based on your logic, and if you use exception, it means that will catch all the exceptions, and in this case it shows the error because basically there's no sense to declare the subclasses if we have the superclass. So as I said, exception is the superclass for all the exceptions. That means that it will catch the exceptions for all the exception classes, right? And yeah, that's what I said. We can create the collection of, and which one to catch. Doesn't really, yeah, so if you write try catch statement, you actually consider that you can have some So any different errors. In case you don't really know which errors you can have, and you just want to have some insurance here, you can use just try catch, and every time use exception class. That's also fine if you if you're not really sure which one to use. So yeah, at the beginning you can use exception class for your code, and that should be fine. If you want to be more precisely, you can pass the corresponding exception types. But in case you don't have any specific wishes, and it's fine for you, you are free to use exception class. That's fine. So, and yeah, every time you have the objects, and for example at the end you can, in theory, you can go through all of them and print just print everything from exception size, and yeah, that's I just want to show that E is also the object. Yeah, that's what, yeah, Marita. Just want to show that this is the object which can be collected. For example, if we have the flow, so we have the flow of where the exceptions are called, and we don't want to interrupt this flow in some way, but we want to print out the errors, so we can, in theory, collect all of them, and at the end we can, sorry, exception, and at the end we can for example, print them, or just use them in a different way. It's also fine, like in this case. And we can see that we go through all the logic, and after that we just print everything from here. Okay, that's that's basically the idea of catch block. So yeah, inside brace execute when expected type exception is called. You can also have multiple blocks and try and catch. For example, here you can have one exception, then one catch, then you can have
I'm sorry, I misunderstood the way. How do you print it out, your exception?
so here just use print stack trace method.
But no, this get method, get E.
That's from the list. That's the list. So we get the element with the index I from the list, and then it returns us the exception, which can be printed after that.
Yeah, thank you. We usually use I in brackets, yeah, for collections. But it's for this
Yeah,
special method. Yeah.
that's yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and yeah, maybe from here let's. Okay, yeah. So, and here we can have multiple catch blocks, which just basically means that first of all we go to this block, then if we have different exception we go to another block, if we, for example, if we use the parent class as the first one, it doesn't make sense and it triggers the compilation problem because it doesn't make sense if we want to go from. So if we first, as the first priority, we have the superclass of the exception. After that, we have the subclass. It doesn't really make sense because the superclass will always catch the exceptions of the subclasses as well. But that's also as the option we can use. Right. So yeah, uncalled exception is exception which is not handled with any catch block. When uncalled exception appears, execution of program is halted. Yes, you already faced. And for multi-thread application, only thread with uncalled exception is halted. And yeah, and maybe the last block which is a part of try catch block is finally block. So there's the question from Sandra. So I also have a selection try catch block, and all the exception things are to see if there's some problem. No. Or no, basically that's the good question from Sandra. Why we actually need try catch blocks? Here I just shown you maybe some scenarios how we can use these blocks, but the main idea is that we control the flow of the execution of the program. So imagine that you have some maybe more complicated logic than here, and you may have the options that, and you don't really know that you can, if there's like if you have the array and you go through the array and you're not really sure if there can be more elements or less elements than you actually created the logic for. Then in this case, you don't really want your program to be interrupted, to be crashed. Like you don't want this program to crash. That's why you use try catch to prevent this crash. And you just in case you have this problem, this exception raised in try block, you go to catch, and after the catch you go to the next steps as here. So try catch. Otherwise, if you don't have try catch here, the program will be interrupted after the first exception. Right. So that's the idea. We use try catch to, just in case we have the problem in one place, we can move on. In the program. Yeah, hope that's clear now. And you can have, like in this case, you have your own logic, so everything is in your logic. But in case you create some logic for different applications, and like you know that your logic is the part of, for example, of a huge framework. Like your logic is called on like for example, there are 50 parts of stack, and yours is like on very deep level, like on 50 level, for example. Maybe let me draw it a bit. So you have the framework, huge framework. Like this is the huge framework, the program, the software. So, and you are allowed to write the code somewhere in this part, for example. So this is a huge framework, there are lots of classes, different languages, and so on and so on. And you are allowed to do some changes in somewhere here. And you know that basically there's code here which calls the code from here, which calls the code from here, code from here, code from here, and so on and so on. And basically, and there's the try catch statement somewhere here. Like for example, there's try catch statement in this method. And yeah, there's also method calls, and finally your method is called as well. Your class, your method doesn't really matter, is called as well. And in theory, you don't know if you have, so maybe you consider that you can have some exceptions in your code. Maybe that can also be some unexpected issues which you did not expect, but you want to prevent them. So in case, so imagine that this is the production system. So user uses this one, and in case you have any incorrect logic created, this will crash all this framework, which you obviously don't want to have, right? So because of your changes. In this case, you and yeah, just maybe you didn't notice something, maybe you just didn't expect it. You have exception code here, and here's the try catch statement. So what it does, it goes to the last place where this try block is, this exception is called. So in this case, you interrupt the normal flow of this framework and you go to this try. So you basically go up. I don't know how many levels are there. But if you have try catch in your statement, in your method, so like imagine at the just most usual, not most usual, but the usual way at the beginning of your program, you type try, then at the very end you type catch, so you don't have any unexpected, at least even if you have some unexpected exceptions thrown in your program, you don't actually go, you don't skip all this stuff and go here. You just have try, so you have the exception thrown, you just finish exactly at your own place, and then you return back to previous stack, and actually don't your logic does not interrupt the normal flow of the program. So that's practically the idea. And why do we use try catch statements? Okay, maybe about this, any questions? Why do we really need them? Okay, I see Sandra is typing something. Okay, maybe let's wait a bit. Okay, Marit is typing something as well. Maybe yeah, let's okay, well, yeah, life safety vest. Yeah, that's yeah, Marit. It can be used as safety vest, but also it can be used as kind of yeah. In this case, that's used as a safety vest, so you don't interrupt the program. And sometimes okay, maybe I will show the example after the break. I think you already had this example. Yeah, it can be used as safety for safety reasons, like in this case, and that's a very good approach. You don't interrupt, but also sometimes you can have such errors that you actually expect. So you know that you have some logic, for example, read file somewhere, and you may consider that, okay, this file may, from this place you cannot reach this file, and you have try, then you go to catch, and in catch you try, for example, another place. So you have one place, in the first try you try to read the file from one place, so you're unsuccessful, you are in catch, Then in catch you try it another time from different, for example, from different place. And yeah, from different place you try to read the file, and maybe that's if you are successful, you go to catch. If you are successful, then it's fine. So you use just like a second attempt to read the file. That's kind of example. Also, I'll show also one more example. We already faced it, but maybe after the break. But so yeah, I see there's the question from Sandra. So the try catch box is recommended to use always for. No, yeah, that's fine if you type it. It's recommended. It's recommended if it actually depends on the place you write the code. So if it's the client and you are not 100% sure if you if your code will not interrupt the flow of the program, so that's fine and it's recommended. But also one exception about exceptions, in case you have the logic and actually this try catch expects that you may go somewhere from here. So in case you have the exception which is expected to be to be raised in your logic, like that, for example, that can be expected exception. And in this case, and if the software, if the design is built in the way that it expects that you go here, then obviously you don't need to put try catch in your logic. So basically, the idea is that you need to understand what's the design. If you are sure that or if you're not sure about your own logic and you are sure that you don't need to like to do such step such way such scenario, so you use try catch. If you are not sure, please maybe ask the person responsible who is working with the design you are working you're working with. Again, so it depends. It is recommended if you in most maybe in most cases it is recommended, but in some cases you exceptions can be the part of the program flow. So in this case you don't interrupt the program flow with the exception somewhere here, but you can interrupt it with your try catch. Also be very precise, and you also again you need to check if you are allowed to use it or not. But yeah, maybe in most cases that's a really good approach if you use it. But again, it does depends. It depends on the design with which you are working with. Okay, so hope it's clear. Yeah, but you need to think about it. Yeah, if you use it. Okay, yeah, we can have the break now, and let's meet in 10 minutes. So. Yeah. Okay, maybe let's go to the final part of our today's session, and I think that was just talk about the block finally. So maybe let's start with a bit, with the theory slide, and then I'll just show the example, and after that I think I'll go to the questions. So the finally block, that's just, we have actually 5, as you remember, we have just 5 keywords on the exception sections, on the exception topic. That's again try, catch, 2, throw 3, throws 4, and finally that's the 5th one. So what it is, that's the block used if some actions are necessary after execution of try or catch blocks. It should always be after last catch block. If exception occurs inside catch block, finally block is executed anyway. So usually is used to release external resources, file systems, network connections, database connections, and so on. So basically, how does it work? So we have try, catch, catch, and in the end we have the block finally. So let's create a new file where we can do some stuff inside. This finally. So imagine we have try and catch statement. Maybe let me copy something from here, for example. This one, for example, just don't want to. This one, sorry. Don't need this. Just want to. So we have simple try catch. Okay, so we have try catch, and in the end we can add finally blocks. So let's print something out, for example. And so show it still shows. But you can see that after catch statement finally is called. If we maybe let's do some dummy exception here. Exception. So let's imagine we don't have an exception. We can see that finally is called anyway, and basically we can even use it without the catch statement. But in this case, just let's throws found exception. So here we know that there will be the it throws the exception, which is actually not thrown inside the code, but despite this, that goes to finally and does does the stuff. And like in this case, so as please notice that there's no catch statement, and we can see that this print is not called. So we go to try. We have not called the exception, but finally is still called. So the finally box still executed. So if we have the exception, if we have catch here, it finally remains as is. So here we run, and we can see that the catch is called, the catch is executed, then the final is executed, and then the fall is executed after that. So basically, finally means the cleanup. In case you have try catch, you can have try catch, and there's the exception which does not which cannot call the which cannot catch the exception which is actually thrown. In this case, it goes to finally if there's no catch statement. As you can see here, it triggers such error. It triggers such error, such exception. Such exception here, which is not called again. We have try, we have finally, but we have no catch. That's why this is practically the same as if we don't have try catch, but we have no lock which is executed after we have such error. So finally means that even in case the exception is called, even in case we don't catch the exception, but the exception is raised, even in this case, the finally will be called. So that's also an option how we can use it. And maybe you can consider this as the cleanup. So you clean up the program, the fall after the exception is raised. Okay, so I think that's time for questions. I see that's if you have any questions about this one, you're welcome to ask as well. And if you have the questions about activity 06, you can also ask. And one more thing I remember, there was a question what you need to do in extra 06. This one, extra 06. Let me search what was the question. To do one of extra, I think generics that was. So that's it is mentioned that you need to import static width from here. It actually means that you need to write the import, yeah. Write the import, then you need to import static GTM, basically extra 06 generics sorry, generics test walk, yeah, so we can see. So what does it mean? If we go to declaration, if we go to declaration, let's decompile it. Okay. Let's wait until Eclipse is loading. And yes, here you can see it is defined this way. That's public static variable, and here we just import the static variable from this class. We import variable walk from static variable walk from this class. Okay, so here's the questions. So we always need to create okay, question from us, throws part to use try catch block, and no, you don't need to create throws. You need to you create, you use throws. Show here. So as I stated at the beginning, you create throws to point that this particular method can throw this particular exception. So in case, like in this case, why did I use? Because in this case we already have try catch, so we don't need to point it here. But in case you have you just create the method from some class, and for the users, for those who want to use this method, you point that this method can throw the exception, so please be aware and put it in try catch statement. So you use throws to point that this particular exception can be called in this method, and just for those who want to use this method, it is necessary to, actually there are two options. You put it in try catch, or another option is that in your own method where you use the method which uses throws, you also use throws, and then for those who use your method will need to put it in try catch. So that's basically the idea of throws. But you don't always need to use throws. Question from Zana: how should we append the walk? What's that? Is it about generics or what? Yeah. Okay, where was it? Select generators, and so generate constructor from superclass and select OK, and implement extended constructor that after new general object is created, walk has appended fine generics to create it. Okay, so basically, yeah, the walk is that's the variable. In this case, the walk is just yeah, that's this one. So that's string builder, and yeah, just use in this case maybe in constructor somewhere. So in this case, you will need to do it in constructor. Just want to use kind of void, some basic void here. Yeah, and here I use walk, and I append the text. I append the text, and as it's stated here, you need to append this one. So that's practically it. You need to do in the constructor. So you just need to append this one. Yeah, of course, because with a new one at the end. Yeah, that's how it is meant here. Okay, that's how. Yeah, that's then how we need to append it in the walk. Same here. All has append line. Is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, to do for. You need to append. Yeah, the same way you need to append the value of the class, right? So the value of the value class. So you have the value in the methods, the variable. Then from variable you need to get the class and basically get the name of the class. So this is basically the name of the class of the variable. Like in this case, that can be double or something else as well. So, but what about all that necessary message should be written there? Yeah, see, there's Marita. What about all that necessary messages should be written there? What's not really sure. Marita, can you please point to what this is related to? To do on generics, okay. Prosthetically from necessary message should be written. Yeah, that's for append. So that's. I'm not sure if you have heard something about the walks, but the walks are basically the places where there can be different walks, different places for walks, but that's the place where you write the information from the program. Like if you have the flow of the program, which for example processes the document, imagine you have the document which is processed like the text document that could be the contract or something like that. Imagine every type of document of contract. So you process the document, you have so many different information here and there, and you just have the logic based on it, and you want to actually to display this logic somewhere in like in the database or just in the place where you can find you can read it and check it after that. Like if you have the log, you just document all the stuff which happens inside your program. And after that, for example, you have like you create, imagine this scenario, you created the program, so you pass the program, you pass this to production, everything is fine for you. Then like after, so in 1 week or 2 weeks after your development is done, you send your development in production. You get the message from the users that something is wrong, something is processed incorrectly, and you actually, for example, you need to check what was the problem and what was the reason of the problem. Then you go to the list of logs, you check the log from the particular program which is executed, and there you can actually find everything what happened that particular execution of the program, and you find the reason of the issue, you check it, and you can fix it, for example. So that's basically the idea of logs. And what is written here, that the necessary messages should be written to this log. That's basically what's about. What about this one, for example, and this one as well? Yeah. Okay. That's about this one. Any more questions about X206? If not, that I think I had some questions about activity 06. Let me check what are the files I do have here. Activity and yeah. Just a moment, let's check. So my corpse works very slowly today. Okay, maybe let's move with the questions about. Okay, there's no more questions about X206. Everything works from main, but I get failures in regular expressions unit test. Okay, what are the failures, Zane? What are the failures you have in regular expressions unit test? So if you pushed your changes to Bitbucket, I think I can check what the problem can be. Yeah, okay, maybe let's. So if you pushed your changes, I think I can check what's the problem. I think I have some very slow performance of the computer today. Or is it the internet? No, I think internet is fine. It's a bit strange. Okay, even Google is very slow today. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, also I will check it, but please let me import the logic from Zana. Okay. Okay, it goes very slowly. Okay. 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 not sure, but my computer goes very slowly. Might not be any logic. Okay. Okay, that's why at least I need to check. Basically, I cannot really understand what's the issue if I don't see the code. From main, but I get errors in especially check error. At least I need to see at least part of code so I can check them. Please share the code and I will try to help. But okay, let's move on with next questions. Yeah, from those activities, I still don't understand why the clonable is there and what it is that we are supposed to do with that. Yeah, the good question. The clonable is needed to actually use the method to actually clone the object to use the method clone from object. That's why you need to use it in Martian class. Let me open my logic. In Martian class, as it is stated, you need to clone. You need to clone the object, and just basically to clone, you need to use clonable interface. That's why. Then I see that you have, and that's the good question. Activity 06 Martian potential string method Martian, but okay. So it means that you have not. I think that it means that you have not. You have missed to provide something, I guess. So the markup as testnet about yeah, that's true. It does not go to stomach, most likely. For maybe that's good because the cloning is maybe the most complicated part here. So yeah, but first of all, you need to the cloning. Just for information, cloning is maybe the most the trickiest part here. So first of all, content description is two complete structure should be cloned recursively for content of all stomach. And that's from also it states that basically the idea is that, like, let me show my terrible drawing skills again. I'm so sorry that you need to see it, but okay, I will. So you have for example, you have Martian and like, oh Jesus, I can. Okay, so we have Martian. Yep. I'm not sure how to draw them. Okay, so you have Martian, which can have another Martian in its stomach, which can have another Martian in its stomach, and basically the idea is that you need to clone. You need to clone all of them. So that's the idea. To actually clone this margin, you need to clone this one, which will call the method clone for this one, which will call the method clone for this one, and so on. That's why it is called recursion here. That's the idea. I agree that maybe that's a bit complicated, but you just need to. So to complete this exercise, you need to just follow the sequence that again you have. you have one Martian, then inside one Martian you can have a different Martian. So for new Martian to set up, so you need to clone one Martian. To set up the Martian, you need to clone this one. So you clone this one and put it here. Then for this one, you clone this one and put it here as well. So that's the idea. Yeah, that's a bit tricky, I agree, but here you just need to precisely follow the sequence of this program. So basically a small hint. First of all, what you need to do in the method clone, as it is stated, you can have different instances. So you can have integer. From this point, you don't need to do any cloning. You just return integer and that's it. If you have nothing, you just return null. So you return nothing. If you have string, you create new string using new string. Then you put the string inside. Then if you have the instance of Martian, that's the tricky part. What I tried to draw here. You need to create a new Martian. That's this one. And you need to fill all the attributes for this Martian. So yes, you need to, yeah, and basically the only attribute is, yeah, so the only attribute is what it ate, what it has eaten. So, and you just need to put, you need to create another clone Martian which is inside. So that's the recursion. You need to clone all of them. To do it, you just basically need to get the Martian which is eaten here and call the same method clone, which will do practically the same logic. So you just need to call the same method clone and set up this cloned object to the place what this one ate. So what this one has in his stomach. And that's practically it. What you need to do in the cloning. Nothing really special. And yeah, of course you also need to provide the weight. So you have the constructor, and in constructor you just pass the weight of this one. And that happens for all the Martians. So you just need to pass two parameters. You need to pass the weight, which is simple since this is the integer in cloning, and you need to pass the Martian. You need to clone the Martian. So yeah, that's the idea of cloning here. Okay, so object is not cloned properly. Addresses are the same. Yeah, that's you need to call new, you need to create new object. So basically what you do, you just create new new Martian, like, yeah, you create new Martian and you set up all the attributes for it manually. Yeah. In case you don't create new, you will have the same addresses. And for the string, yeah, please do the same for the string as well. So string is also the object. You need to create new string by calling operator again new string, and you pass the value of the string to the constructor. When vomiting, empty stomach, expected no, but was -1. -1. Why was it minus? Okay. Okay, yeah, that's the weight. -1 means that you actually have the human in the stomach, so it means that the stomach is not empty, but it should be empty. So please check if you fulfill the stomach, if you put the object to the stomach correctly. That's also the, and of course you can debug the unit tests as well. You're welcome to do it, and that will increase the speed for your solution very well. Okay. Yeah. Did you get my my problem I sent today? Not in, so not yet. Yeah, that's basically I expected to check this problem now. Yeah, that's why I just left it for now. Let's check it now. So Martian class. Okay, the problem was the weight. Okay, let me check. So, yeah, just in case I missed something, please notify me. Is that possible? That, and yeah, don't hesitate to write me some kindly reminders. Deadline is I mean the end of this week as usually. Yeah. Sure, and we can also discuss it on Saturday as well. So hope that should be fine. Okay, let me check. Christine's code. For moment. So, moment for Martian. excuse me. Okay, let me take a look on it. So you have the problem with the weight. See. So the problem with the weight, and it shows that vomiting expected -1, but was 28. Okay, so it means that okay, you start with stomach, empty stomach. You have the birth weight. Then you eat. If stomach is no, then actually you don't need to cast to object because that's the parent class for all the classes. Stomach. um. Okay, I have different. Okay. Okay. For I think integer. So okay. Have then you and the question, why do you call the method eat from the method eat? I'm not really sure if you really need it. Or at least you don't need to. Okay, yeah, that's also fine if you add it to stomach. Okay, then let me check if stomach is no, then you. Then maybe let's go to the instance of integer. Then items instance of integer, then you cast it to integer and okay. Yeah, but you don't. Yeah, but you don't. First of all, you don't need to pass it twice. Then get weight. Okay. Okay, let me check what I've done there. So when the method eat is called, yeah, okay, this code, otherwise just increase. See, it was just increase the weight and pass it to pass it to here. Okay, that seems fine. The method eat for integer, yeah, that seems fine. Okay, let's Okay. Still cover full. Oh yeah, if that's basically, I think that the problem is that not the problem, but I'm not sure why do you want to, why you actually have the method eat integer for Martian, because I mean the problem is that you call the method eat eat from eat, so it actually does it twice, which is not really correct. So basically, what what you need to do is just create the separate logic for the method integer, and then yeah, same way fill the stomach. Okay. Let me check. Oh, sorry. Fault. Fault. Okay. Okay. Still, there's the issue. So for integer, there's no instance of humanoid. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's, I think that's the, that's for Christine. Yeah, first of all, please note that you don't need to call the method eat from eat, so create a separate logic for integer. And one more thing, please check the brackets you have for in the method eat. Yeah, so the idea is that we put the item into the stomach only if the stomach is null. Yeah, but in your case the brackets are built. Yeah, in your case, I think that brackets are built in the way that 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 it will that the item will go to stomach anyway. Yeah. So please check this as well. Correct this as well. Okay. So that's this case. That's for this case. And and you also I'm not sure if that's the issue. Okay. Sorry. if stomach equals no or, yeah. Okay. 3 FC, and this one. Okay. That one it is not correctly or. Uh, yeah, the answer for Anda, this error you showed to me means that you don't have this particular method for human. I mean the method with the returning parameter of integer. Returning of integer. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's okay. About okay, maybe about Christine, I will answer tomorrow morning to you. Yeah. So I think that we have no real time to go through this code. I will find the issue tomorrow morning, Christine, and I will reply you. And yeah, if I missed anything from others, then please type the reminder for me. If I missed something, any questions from you, please type the reminder for me so I can go back to you. Yeah. Thanks you for today, and let's meet on Friday. Yeah. Thank you. Goodbye.